am back with another video. You guys haven't seen me since last week. I made it back from the UK in Paris. I had a great birthday week. I celebrated my whole entire week. This was such a fun experience. I totally suggest that everyone and anyone get themselves out there into the world and travel and visit places and look at art and museum and eat great food and listen to awesome music and go to plays and do all these things in life that are designed for our entertainment and our mental well-being. It's important for us to live. Basically, we get into such habit forms of just working and going home and taking care of our responsibilities and forgetting that life is also to be lived. That was one of the things that was a great takeaway. And obviously, being on vacation, you can turn your mind and off to certain responsibilities, and you can go out into the world and sit in cafes in the middle of the day and drink wine and drink coffee and all those things. That's not an everyday typical reality, but taking that and bringing some of that back home, one of the things that was I was such an American. In the Airbnb I was staying in Paris, right across the street was this great Parisian cafe. Totally typical cafe that you think of with the awnings and the people sitting outside. And because of my traveling partner who wasn't quite ready to be up at the time, I figured it would be a great idea to bring her some coffee. And I go across the street, in the very little French that I knew, and ordered, the cafe. And what you should know, and some of you probably already do know, is that when you go and say, hey, I would like a cup of coffee, they give you little shots of espresso. That's coffee. It is coffee. But we're used to our tall mega cups. And if you go there, and what you should be asking for is an Americano, which they give you that espresso, but they also fill it up with hot water. And that'll be equivalent to what we will consider as a regular cup of coffee. But I digress. I go there being a total American and say, hey, can I have 2 cups of coffee to go, please? And of course, they have the little to go espresso cups, and I'm like, how am I going to maneuver this? And the gentleman was like, well, sir, in the little English that he knew, he said, you should probably enjoy one of those cups. And it hit me. I said, you're right. Why am I rushing to go across the street to bring my friend who wasn't ready to get up, probably is in the shower at this point, and not that big of a coffee drinker? Why am I rushing to bring her a cup of coffee when I can sit here and enjoy my coffee and give her some extra time to, get it together? So that's exactly what I did. I turned 1 shot into 2 shots of coffee and sat outside and had the greatest conversation with a British guy, as a matter of fact. He told me his life story in 10 minutes. I told him a brief version of my vacation in those 10 minutes, and we hit it off very, very well. He gave me some great vacation tips, as well as where to go in England, in London specifically, to visit. One of the places he definitely suggested, which I'm glad I did, and he said you're going to enjoy the food there, was in Chinatown. Their Chinatown in London surpasses any Chinatown that I've been in. I haven't been to China yet, so I would imagine that the food there is probably even better. But the Chinese food I had there was a great time. So me and this gentleman, bloke, just spoke about our lives and start speaking about things and start thinking lightly touched on politics and religion and common grounds and race relations and all those things that you think that you wouldn't have a common conversation with a total stranger about. This gentleman enlightened me. He made me laugh. He encouraged me and didn't know me in the least bit. He looked at me as someone that he probably knew he would never see again, but he encouraged me, and I appreciated that so much. I made him aware that it was my 50th birthday. He he was totally shocked by that number, and that was a common theme from place to place that I was going. I wasn't per se letting everyone know that I was turning 50. I just said birthday. I let him know because he asked specifically, but later on when I go to different places, my travel companion was very exuberant and saying, my friend's 50th birthday, and everyone was like, 50, but I take that as a compliment. I don't feel the number or the age. I feel exactly how I felt in my teens and early 20s and 30s. Will I be lying and saying that yes, age has crept on me as far as it's harder sometimes in the morning to get up. There are some bones that creaks and cracks, but my attitude and my spirit and my zest for life hasn't changed, and I pray that it never does, and I'm very thankful for that. So, which leads me to today's video. Last I left you, I was on the Seine River in Paris, and I was encouraging those to get, like I started off saying at the top of this video, to live your life, go out there and do the best you can, and not take life for granted, and move forward and be happy with yourself. And I know that those are cliched things sometimes to do. Sometimes life does get in the way, and I'm well aware of that. I'm thankful that I can make things happen in life for myself, but I'm also thankful that I have people who encourages me, and the right people who provides me with a great amount of unconditional love. Unconditional love is my topic today, and it's also going to tap into having the strength and courage to just be who you are and love yourself no matter what. Unconditional love. It's a hard thing for some people to grasp the reality of loving someone without any expectation, giving who you are without expectations. And sometimes you could do that and it doesn't come back in your favor. We were all taught to treat people how you want to be treated. And a lot of times you don't get that in return. And it's worse, and it's even sad when it's those that are closest to you. You would expect them to support you and love you the most, but they're usually your biggest adversaries. And that's when it becomes tricky, and that's when it becomes a little sad that you have to fight against principalities that are within your own bloodline. But that's when you have the strength and courage to know that, as I mentioned in previous videos, that God has a plan for your life. God has a vision for you to be strong, and in hard times, be still and know that He will see you through. I don't know if I want to share this, but I guess I will, because I feel like it touches on a lot of what I want to get out of this video for sure. I have someone in my family that I know loves me, but I don't think that they love me unconditionally. I think that it's a ingrained level of love that is expected, but sadly to be said that if I were to pass away today or tomorrow, they will then see how much they really love me. And I don't want it to ever get to that point to where I'm in the grave or this person is in the grave for us to know how special and how loving we are to one another. I love this person unconditionally, but I don't feel like the love comes back to me unconditionally. There's a level of conditions that stands in the way, but I have to be strong and have the courage to know that through it all, that my Father loves me, and He will see that person to get to the point to where they need to be eventually. It's not my job, it's not my responsibility to heal them or to teach them or to even bring things up to their attention. Even if they say that they want you to, they become completely resentful And so therefore is for you to let God work things out. I don't want unconditional love in my life, and I had to establish very strong boundaries, and I have to protect myself from this entity and this person and this person's energy. I wanted them to respect me, and in order to do that, I have to be firm. And sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes you have to let people know for a fact that, what you're offering is not accepted here. And with that being said, and that being the case, I prayed, and before I had the serious conversation, and naturally I knew that the conversation wasn't going to go well. And what I can sense is that they didn't want to have a blown out, dragged out fight with me as well. So I was thankful for them having enough fortitude to not make the situation worse than what it is, but they also clammed up and didn't take any accountability or didn't want to engage in the conversation at all, which made me come across as, well, you really don't value what I'm saying to you, and you think that I'm coming at you in a way that is unfair, but it's not. I have my receipts and my bullet points that I was hitting on that they had no response to. And with that being said, it brought me to the point to understanding that I have to have the strength and courage and fortitude to not only stand up for myself, but to also walk away from this relationship. No matter how close and no matter how loving I would love for us to be, sometimes it's just not possible. Sometimes it's just not in the cards right now. It may be what I want in the long run, but I can't let that stop me from moving forward in my life and building other relationships with people who do love me, who do care about me, and who do want to see the best for me. Do I believe that this person want the best for me? Of course, but I don't think that they want it better than what they have it. If they haven't done it first, so they can say they done it first or been there first or whatever the case may be, there's a level of envy and competition that comes into play that I just don't want to deal with. Those entities are not accepted here. And like I said, I made it very clear what my boundaries were. And ultimately, at the beginning of the conversation, there was a lot of gaslighting, and also stop that in its tracks, because I won't be lied to, and I will respectfully let you know that I don't believe you. And with all of those barriers being established, their guard went up. And so therefore they weren't receptive to hearing anything else. And naturally the conversation went from, I'm willing to listen to you, to let me get off the phone. And as as it happens, me and this person are in the position of not speaking, but it's not if they call me, I'm not going to pick up. It's more so I know that they're just not going to call, and I'm not going to pick up the phone and make extra special efforts as well. I pray for them. I pray for their health. I pray for their well-being. I pray that, life doesn't kick them in the butt too much to the point to where they lose their own mental. But I know that karma is affecting their life currently, and they're living in tower moments where things are shutting down around them. So that's when I have the unconditional love enough to let them have their moment. I know that they'll come back to me at some point. But I pray that I continue to have the strength, and I'm thankful for my YouTube family and people that are paying attention and listening to me either vent or get off these nuggets of wisdom. I'm really thankful that I have the opportunity to speak and kind of getting a little bit more comfortable in front of this camera, and just this is kind of like a therapy session for me. I strongly suggest everyone establish their own therapy path. I personally have a therapist that I speak with about certain topics that are heavier than I can speak on camera. I do have a men's group that I speak with or listen to sometimes on Zoom, which is very helpful, and I'm realizing that speaking to on camera now helps as well. So I take my mental health very seriously, and I will not allow anyone to deter me or distract me from my goals and my path. So with that being said, I will leave it there. Remember, once again, and before I give you my tag, we all know the spiel. Please like, subscribe, and also hit the notification button so you'll know whenever I put out a new video. I appreciate you all. And remember, be kind to someone and love yourself. Good night.